It's Nancy Pelosi for the Democrats up against Tucker Carlson for the Republicans. Today on Political Access, we're going to go through this 2024 presidential matchup. This was suggested to me in the comments. It sounds like a fun one, so let's get into it. And of course, this matchup is never going to happen, but we're just going to play it out for fun, and we'll talk more about it at the end. But I think Nancy Pelosi is going to be a weak candidate for the Democrats. She'll have very high name recognition, but her charisma is low. She's unpopular. She's been around forever. A lot of people are kind of done with Nancy Pelosi. Of course, she'd have strong financial backing from the establishment Democrats. She has all kinds of connections to do whatever she wants. And Tucker Carlson, on the other hand, his name recognition is also high. He's out of touch in a different way, but he does have a populist appeal. And that, I think, would play well to a lot of working-class voters, similar to Donald Trump. Now, the media would come after him because I think he would run as an outsider and anti-establishment. They're going to dig up old quotes of his, stuff that would probably either need more context or maybe he just regrets. And what I think should be focused on are his policy positions for economics and social and cultural issues. And I do think the latter is going to play well in some of these borderline purplish states. But his brand is not going to be for everybody. He's going to be painted as extreme. Nancy Pelosi, she's going to have to be the level-headed, sane person who doesn't let the reins of governmental power escape the establishment. So having said all that, let's quickly go through the states, and let's start in Alaska, and that will be safe for Carlson. Hawaii, safe for Pelosi. Back up to the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, California, that's going to be safe for Pelosi. Nevada, that is going to go lean for Carlson. Idaho and Utah, safe for Carlson. Arizona, very close one for me, but I think it would be a tilt for Carlson. Montana and Wyoming, safe for Carlson. Colorado, just under 10 points, likely for Pelosi. New Mexico, that'll be about 4 to 5 points, leans for Pelosi. North and South Dakota, safe for Carlson. And Nebraska at large, safe for Carlson. The 2nd district, that's the Omaha district. It's gotten a little bit redder since redistricting. I'm not sure which way that would actually go in this matchup, but given Nancy Pelosi is fairly unlikable, I have it as a tilt for Tucker Carlson. Kansas and Oklahoma, safe for Carlson. How about in Texas? Crucial state here. Given the trends and given the candidates, I don't think it would get to a safe margin. I think it would be high single digits, probably 8 to 10 points, but I do have it as likely for Carlson. Let's go up to Minnesota. This is a perennial blue state. In this matchup, I think it would get down to low to mid-single digits, leans for Pelosi. Iowa, I think, would just hit over 10 points, safe for Carlson. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, safe for Carlson. Let's go up to Wisconsin. That, I think, will be leans for Carlson, probably about 3 to 4 points. Illinois, that will be about 10 to 11 points, safe for Carlson. How about Michigan? Another state that's tough for the Republicans to be able to win, but in this matchup, I do think it would be about 1, maybe up to 2 points, leans for Carlson. Indiana, safe for Carlson. Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama, safe for Carlson. How about down in Florida? This, I think, would go over 5 points, maybe up to 7 for Tucker Carlson. Let's go to Georgia. This state has slipped away from the Republicans as of late, so I'm not confident in this rating. But again, given the matchup, given these candidates, I do have it as a leans for Carlson, probably about 1 to 1.5 points. South Carolina, safe for Carlson. North Carolina, that'll be about 5 to 5.5 points, likely for Carlson. Let's jump up to Ohio. This will also be just barely into double digits, safe for Carlson. West Virginia, that's going to be extremely safe for Tucker Carlson. Now we go up to Maine. At large, this will be leans for Nancy Pelosi, probably about 4 to 5 points. The 1st district, that's much bluer. That will be very safe for Pelosi. The 2nd district, Tucker Carlson is the right kind of candidate for this district. It's trended toward the Republicans, and I think he would get it just over 10 points, safe for Carlson. How about New Hampshire? This was a tough one for me. I think Carlson would activate a lot of voters here, but I think just enough of them would want to come out for Pelosi because they view Carlson as too far outside the mainstream, and Pelosi would win New Hampshire by a tilt margin. Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C., safe for Nancy Pelosi. Now we'll go to Pennsylvania, and this, similar to Michigan, I think would be low single digits, about 1 point, maybe a 1.5, leans for Carlson. And finally, the last state, that is Virginia, and that I have is about 6 to 7 points likely for Pelosi. And there's your map, and that's 313 votes for Tucker Carlson, 225 for Nancy Pelosi. So Tucker Carlson wins this matchup, and he does it in relatively easy fashion. Now, I know I get a lot of different kinds of viewers here. I'm sure maybe half of you despise Nancy Pelosi. sure half of you probably despise Tucker Carlson, but I just don't see Nancy Pelosi getting that kind of a turnout. Sure, she would get the liberal base out, and she would harden a lot of the vote in the deep blue states. Just like they view Donald Trump as a threat, I think they would retreat and view Tucker Carlson as a similar threat. And I think in the red states, they would think Tucker Carlson speaks to a lot of their needs and a lot of their views, and they would come out even bigger for him. So it would come down to probably around the 10 or so states in the middle. In my view, I think enough of the voters in the middle, in the suburbs, swing voters, working class, blue-collar voters, especially in the Rust Belt, they could not bring themselves to support Nancy Pelosi. A lot of them would want to try something new, and they would see that in Tucker Carlson. I'm sure Carlson would talk about some populist economics, trade, big tech, some type of corporate regulation. I don't think he would completely succeed on issues like healthcare, wages, and some other worker-related issues. On cultural issues, I think he would activate a lot of the Trump voters, maybe even some new voters that haven't voted before. He would talk up immigration, political correctness, wokeness, crime, and homelessness, and he would come at it from a right-leaning populist perspective. And that, I think, would be successful. Now, if you don't like him, you think that he's probably just grifting, or he'd pull out some statements that he's made. You'd say he's extreme, etc. So I get it. Some people have that view, but I just don't see Nancy Pelosi being able to overcome someone like Tucker Carlson. She just really would not activate any new voters. She wouldn't really tap into any of the voters that have left the Democratic Party over the last few cycles. She'd really only be all about getting out turnout in the blue cities like Philadelphia, Detroit, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Austin, Atlanta, Phoenix, etc. In debates, I don't think she would stand much of a chance. She has little charisma. Tucker Carlson is much more youthful. He has much more energy. He just has a message that is not something we've heard repeatedly from the Republican establishment, at least. So again, you might question his motives. You might question his views. I think he would win. I don't think Pelosi has really much to offer besides she's the sane one. Don't think that message really is going to work too much. I think Carlson would win a lot of these states. Arizona, I think, would be close. That state is definitely trending toward the left. He might not be their kind of brand, but in a lot of the other states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, even in Georgia, I think he would be able to win those back. And he would run up the margins in places like Iowa and Ohio. He'd get those into double digits. Some other states, maybe New Jersey, Delaware, Connecticut, he might be able to get those margins close to a 10-point threshold. But just to be sure, I kept them at safe. So, of course, there's a lot of factors that go into this, the running mate, the national environment, which issues they would actually run on. But I just see Pelosi falling flat and Carlson getting that turnout he needs to win. But this is just what I think. Let me know in the comments, how do you think this matchup would go? Which states would you change? Let me know down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I will see you on the next video.